These are the wedding photography trends we're seeing for 2026. My name is Lotta and I've been a wedding photographer for around 5 years now, but I've been following trends for a lot longer than that. And I personally think that the tides are turning a little bit when it comes to wedding photography in 2026. So today we're going to go through some of the things that I think will make 2026 a big year when it comes to client experiences, client expectations for wedding photography, and trends and styles that we're seeing that will make a big impact both for people getting married as well as photographers documenting the whole thing. So let's get into it. So first, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more on-location lighting. And I also personally love natural light, but I think we're kind of moving out of that phase a little bit this upcoming year. And people are embracing more posed and thoughtful portraits on their wedding day. There is so much you can do with even just one additional light that you can bring. And I think that we're kind of exiting the era of effortlessness, not only in wedding photography, but just in general. And people are starting to want more high effort photography. But don't be intimidated. Bringing a light to a wedding venue actually can make you a lot more flexible when it comes to locations and portrait poses, because you're not dependent on one big beautiful window in a beautiful location. And dare I say, it's actually going to make your job a little bit easier because you'll have more flexibility and are depending less on available light. And I think it's also really going to make your images stand out, especially if you put some effort into learning the skill of lighting for portraits with a softbox or just an additional light. The next thing that I think is going to get increasingly more popular than it already is well-lit, technically sound, beautiful medium format film photography. There are many photographers who have been using medium format film photography for literally decades for wedding photography, but I'm talking more about the people who had added film to their packages in recent years and now are realizing that medium format film photography is really where it's at when it comes to wedding portraits. People might not even necessarily know that they're looking at film, but they will be somehow magically drawn to those images. And luckily, it's pretty easy to pick up the skill of medium format film photography at this point. So yeah, just embrace it. I personally love shooting with my Mamiya 645, and I usually get my favorite images from that camera. And this leads me directly to my next point. I think that wedding galleries will become smaller and that we as photographers are going to take back the task of curation from the clients and putting it back into our own workflow as photographers. And of course, we want to make sure that we get all of the big and small moments that are important to tell the story of the day. But I think it is better to deliver a smaller gallery with great images because people already have decision fatigue and it's already difficult to process that much information for us as photographers, but also for the couple. So I think making a lot of the curation decisions for a couple is actually a great service to them. And that actually leads me to my next point. You as a photographer, what do you consider your final product? Is it the online gallery? Is it the thumb drive or the social media post? Or is it the physical printed photograph that you spend so much time and effort into creating? I think increasingly we are headed towards shooting for the finished album because in our ever more digital world, I think people really are craving physical keepsakes and like physical representations of their memories, not just digital. So I personally think that prints and albums are going to start playing a much bigger role again in what people expect from their professional photography services. So learning how to edit your photos for the print rather than for screens is a great place to start, including more prints and albums into your services and to learn the skill of how to actually create good physical photographs. Here's a stylistic trend that I'm predicting for 2026. I think people are going to start embracing the beauty of corner-to-corner sharpness, even for portraits. I personally also love a beautiful soft bokeh, and I do love shooting wide open with a wide open aperture. But did you know that you can actually use apertures higher than 5.6? I personally thought that was illegal, not allowed, but it turns out that you can actually get really awesome effects when you shoot with a greater aperture, even greater than f8, f11. And then I started being drawn to photographers who are capable of creating awesome portraits and awesome images while keeping the background in focus. I think it gets a little bit harder to do because you need to take so much more into consideration. You can't just blur out the background. But for weddings specifically, I think it can be really awesome because you're most likely at a beautiful venue where people have put time and effort into the backdrop of the whole event. And so having it in focus and putting it in focus can actually stylistically be super, super valuable for the finished product, the finished storyline of the day. Don't lose all of the beautiful venue, all of the beautiful backdrop, all of the people in the background. Don't lose that to background blur, and use higher apertures and start learning how to shoot that way. And whether you like it or not, short form video is here to stay, and content creation has made its way into mainstream wedding photography, both as an expectation from wedding clients, but also for wedding photographers to use for their marketing, for creating content around their business and to promote their business. And so if you're not quite on board with that yet, I recommend you learn a little bit about video editing, about shooting maybe with your phone, or even have somebody else create content for you. And I think this year it's really going to be an expectation that people have rather than just a little extra add-on. And of course there's also a few things that are here to stay. I don't think direct flash is going anywhere. It's just such a perfect tool for a fun reception, and people just love the direct flash look. I don't think that's going anywhere. The other thing is motion blur. It does work so well if you use it intentionally to create more romantic images and to create more dynamic images for a gallery that could potentially otherwise feel a little bit stiff if you just go from portrait to portrait. So I think those two trends are definitely here to stay, at least for a little bit longer. And then the other thing that I've been seeing more and more of is drone photography for weddings. I think this past year there were a few viral drone shots of ceremonies and of venues, and I think that's going to fuel the interest in aerial photography for weddings, because if you pay for all that money for a big venue, you might want to just have a unique look down on it, and it can be really cool for ceremonies, and definitely a big skill to learn for photographers who might not be used to flying anything. Welcome to pilot life. Okay, so now let's discuss in the comments what you agree with and what you don't agree with. I'm actually going to be active in the comments, so let me know if you think I'm way off on something or right on track. And thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.